Welcome to The Heart of Health Live. There's a place for modern medicine in your life. Learn to use it correctly by getting your toughest questions answered on today's broadcast. Discover modern medicine's strengths and weaknesses. Lifestyle medicine opens the door to optimum health and healing. How you live and what you eat can profoundly affect mind and body. Learn simple solutions to complex problems. God provides the ultimate healing we all desire. He wants us healthy and happy. We just need to understand His plan for our lives and live accordingly. And now, live from Studio 1A in Chattanooga, Tennessee, here's your Heart of Health host, Dr. James Marcum.
Welcome to the Heart of Health Live, where you are the program. We're so glad you took time out of your busy day and schedule to join us. And if you want to be one of the first ones to call in, our operators are standing by. Our phone number 855-644-3278. And we're going to be talking about a medical subspecialty that everyone is very interested in, and that's dermatology. We got Dr. Phill Mills. He actually practices dermatology. He sees patients every day. He knows what's going on with dermatology. He comes highly recommended, and he's more than capable to answer your questions regarding skin and dermatology. And just give us a call at 855-644-3278. Don't be shy. If you just like to leave your questions, you can just leave that, and they can bring it up between the break. But we're here to serve you. We're not selling gadgets. We don't have any special herbs or special nutritional supplements. We just want to give you good information here. And remember, at the Heart of Health, what we try to do is promote a balance. You know, there's a place for modern medicine, especially for acute illnesses. There's a great place for lifestyle. But we want to encourage everyone in that relationship with the Heavenly Father where healing occurs. That relationship that gives you the power to maybe get over bad habits. And remember, we're here to love you and not judge you and just help you along life's way. And we want to encourage you in that relationship. So we want you to be a part of our program. 855-644-3278. We're going to go to break in just a few seconds, and then we're going to introduce Dr. Mills and see how he got interested in dermatology and the path that brought him to where he's at today. And we want you to be a part of our program, either calling in or praying or inviting your friends to watch. Also tonight, we're going to be having Weight Management by the Book given out to a Facebook drawing. That's Weight Management by the Book. We're going to mail this to somebody. So stay with us tonight. Give us a call, 855-644-3278. I'm going to introduce Dr. Mills after this break.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
The Heart of Health Live is brought to you by Heartwise Ministries.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tim Jennings with your Mental Health Minute. Are you pregnant or thinking of becoming pregnant? Do you want to ensure your child will have the healthiest brain possible? Then avoid all alcohol, because as little as 1 glass of wine per week alters brain development and is associated with behavior and emotion problems. Avoid smoking. Children born to mothers who smoked had higher rates of learning and behavior problems and psychotic disorders. Take omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s promote healthy brains and higher IQ. And watch out for depression. Untreated depression is associated with delayed fetal growth and altered brain development. However, antidepressants can increase miscarriage rates, contribute to smaller fetal heads, and slow growth in the newborn. If depressed, consider transcranial magnetic stimulation, the only FDA-cleared, drug-free treatment for depression with no risk to the fetus. To be smart requires a healthy brain, so be smart, do right, and make your child bright.
To learn more about mental health, visit comeandreason.com.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't, because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
I'm Dr. James Marcum, and I talk to patients every day who want to know the truth in healthcare. On our website, heartwiseministries.org, you can have your questions answered. You can read my blog where I talk about interesting and controversial subjects in medicine. You might choose to go to the radio or television sections and learn more about all sorts of health topics. Take the time and go to heartwiseministries.org heartwise.org.
Medicines That Kill from cardiologist Dr. James Marcum is now available. In his newest book, Dr. Marcum explains why he believes that medications may very well be the #1 cause of death in America. Medicines That Kill uncovers the hidden risks associated with modern pharmaceuticals and outlines the biblical plan for physical and spiritual health. To find out how to get your copy, visit our website at heartwiseministries.org or call us toll-free at 855-644-3278.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
If you've just joined us, look right down. Everyone has skin. Everyone should be interested in it. We want you to give us a call, 855-644-3278. You're watching Heart of Health Live. And Dr. Mills, thanks for joining us.
Nice to be here.
Now tell me, what got you interested? Tell us about your path, how you got into medicine, a little bit of your background, and what you're doing today.
Well, probably I went into medicine as a result of John Wesley.
Okay.
I was very impressed with John Wesley, his emphasis in helping people. And he actually wrote a book that was a major book here in this country at the very founding of it. That was on physique. It was on simple home remedies.
Okay.
And so that really got me interested in it. And my dad was a minister, and he would help our neighbors, and they would give simple treatments. And so, that was just the pathway into medicine.
Okay. And before you did dermatology, you did some rehab?
I was a rehab doc for years, and I was a medical director of a rehab hospital, and I enjoyed it very much.
Now, I know right now you practice in northern Georgia. How long have you been there?
I've been there for 3 years now.
And you see patients every day?
Lots of them.
Now, you were telling me some stories about melanoma. Tell our audience, what is melanoma and what should we be concerned about?
Well, melanoma is the fastest increasing. It's growing by a certain percentage every single year. And it's related to getting sunburned.
Okay.
And most people don't really know why they should be careful of sunburns. But if you take a piece of paper and you put it in a photocopy machine and you have an original, and then the piece of paper comes out, will it be exactly like the original?
No.
It won't be.
Right.
And if your cells divide, is the divided cell exactly like the original?
Right.
It's not.
Right.
And so over time we begin to have increasingly abnormal cells because they're not perfect copies. And your skin, you have a lot of cells that they go through a lot of generations. By the time you're 60, you have 40,000 mutations on your skin.
Wow, 40,000.
And so you're a walking mutant. Now, what is the problem there? If you get a burn, I just saw a 16-year-old with a burn on her nose. She's introduced from ultraviolet, she's introduced mutations. Those mutations, just like the copy of the original has some errors, those errors are always there, never change. And so she's now going to be copying abnormals, making more abnormals, and so that increases her risk of different kinds of skin cancer, including melanoma.
So melanoma is probably the most risky?
It's the worst of the common skin cancers. In the 3 years that I've been in practice in Blue Ridge, we've had 51. I just saw my 51st melanoma today and talked to her about melanoma, getting some surgery ready for her.
Now, for our audience, I guess you deal a lot with skin cancer. How might someone in our audience what are some characteristics that they might, because lots of us have little spots and moles. What are some things that would put up some red flags for people?
Here's what the literature says, that if you have a mole, and you should inspect your body completely every month, and if one of the moles that you have is changing and it changes this month, next month, and the third month. By the third month, 10% of those will be melanomas that change over a 3-month period of time.
Okay. And are you still looking at the color and contour and all that, or you just tell people if they're changing?
Yeah, there are a number of things that we want to look for when we're looking for melanomas. The first thing you want to look at is it asymmetrical?
Okay.
And by asymmetrical is one side look like the other side. And in a cancer, it grows erratically. It's not smooth. It's not perfectly round. And so is there irregularity to it? The borders, are they smooth or are they jagged? What is the color? Does it have more than one color? Is it just evenly colored? What is the diameter? If it's bigger than a pencil eraser size, then you need to have that evaluated. Is it enlarging? Those are the A, B, C, D, E's
Okay.
got
it.
of the melanoma.
So we got asymmetry, the borders, the color, the diameter, and is it changing?
Enlarging.
Enlarging. Okay. So I'm sitting here and saying, listen, you know, our audience, I got one of these. Well, what should we do next?
You should have it checked by a dermatologist.
And what will they do?
Well, depending on what it looks like, it may be perfectly benign.
Okay.
Many of the things that the patients come in concerned about, it's nothing. But quite commonly, I'll find something they weren't concerned about, and it may turn out to be a skin cancer. So I take anything seriously if they come in, and I make sure that I check them over. The American College of Dermatology, the American Academy of Dermatology, says that you should have, if you're over 40, you should have a skin examination every year.
Every year. Well, that's good to know.
And so you look, and then the dermatologist can say, this needs a biopsy,
Okay.
or it's perfectly fine.
Now, does a biopsy hurt? You have to go to the hospital for that, or?
No, a biopsy is a very simple procedure, and you make sure it's all numbed.
Okay.
And then you just take a little piece off. It's kind of like if you fell and scratched yourself.
Right.
And then that's looked at, gets processed, and then we look at it underneath the microscope. And then depending on what it shows, and we decide it should be treated, it should have surgery. It's benign.
Okay, good. And I bet you that makes a lot of people feel relieved.
Yes.
One way or the other.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you mentioned about all this prolonged exposure to sunlight. What about tanning beds? I get a lot of questions about that. Does that cause similar damage?
In tanning beds, there are 4
And a lot of people
times, yes, 4 times the amount of melanomas in areas that have tanning beds. Now, the problem with tanning beds are much worse than sun, because sun is more natural. It gives you a broad spectrum of light, whereas your tanning bed is focused on a few special segments of ultraviolet. And so that's much more dangerous. Your body doesn't have all the protections. And so it's a big problem, and you should avoid it unless there's a couple of conditions where tanning beds under medical supervision are reasonable.
Wow, that's very interesting. Because, you know, everyone's worshiping the sun these days.
Yes.
And, you know, we're going to talk a little bit about sunscreen and that, because that always comes up, you know. And at the same time, you know, we're told that, you know, sunlight's good, vitamin D,
Yes.
and you know, bones and serotonin and that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about the right amount, what's not too much, when to use sunscreen. We've had a lot of questions that come into the website. And we want also you to give us a call, 855-644-3278. And you can register if you go on Facebook for this drawing. We're going to give out one of these programs. It's Weight Management by the Book. Nick is going to find one of those that go in Facebook, or someone new that joined us tonight. We're going to go Weight Management by the Book. We're waiting for your questions. All of our phone lines are open. Give us a call. We're here with Dr. Mills. He's a dermatologist practicing in Blue Ridge, Georgia. So stay with us, and we're going to be right back after we take a short break.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
would like to think that one day, when we get to heaven, we're going to see a list of people. People like Jared and Susan, who were introduced to Jesus because of something we said. Or maybe it was as simple as a passing smile. But these people will look into their past and be able to say, I'm here because of you. Recently, you may have heard that HeartWise Ministries has begun spreading the gospel to the young, the old, the sick, and the healthy using this very television program. But we need your help. We want to take this type of medical programming to the non-believer and the person who has closed themselves off to traditional forms of outreach. If you believe as we do and want to support HeartWise so that together we can count more names on the Tree of Life, please consider donating today at heartwiseministries.org. That's heartwiseministries.org.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
The Ultimate Prescription by cardiologist Dr. James Marcum is taking the nation by storm. People everywhere are learning what living a healthy life is all about. If you're happy living a drug-filled, pain-filled, mundane existence, this book is definitely not for you. In this book, Dr. Marcum dives into modern medicine's strengths and weaknesses and explains how lifestyle choices can significantly impact your health. To get your copy, visit Barnes & Noble or shop online at Amazon.com.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
If you're just joining us, we're talking with Dr. Phill Mills. He's an expert on dermatology. We want to give you a chance to call us, 855-644-3278. We want to also pause right now to thank our HeartWise 100. Those are the people that help make this program possible, to keep it on the air, serving other people. There's some great studies out there, Dr. Mills, that show when you serve other people, the anterior cingulate part of the brain grows and you get new neurons grow, and you actually turn off the limbic system, which makes stress. So by serving, you actually improve your own chemistry.
You know what I tell patients?
Yeah.
If it's good for your heart, it's good for your skin. And if it's good for you in cheerfulness, in giving, for your brain, it's good for your skin.
So we can give everyone a free prescription. Go out there and help someone else out today. We have a question that comes in, and this person has written in, didn't want to come on the air, and I don't, so that's okay. She says, I have a history of melanoma, Dr. Mills, 6 years ago, and she now has he or she has returning moles on the back. Is it safe to use extra strength Dermatin to remove the moles? What would you recommend on that one?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
I would recommend that she immediately see a dermatologist and have them evaluate the moles and do a biopsy if necessary, and get it taken care of. Don't try to be your own physician on that one.
That's a very interesting topic, because a lot of people are out there having products that will remove things, and I actually heard a commercial not too long ago about someone that you just come in, they remove the skin tags and take stuff off. But what if they miss a cancer?
We don't remove anything, but we send it off for pathology. Even though I am sure that it is normal, I've discovered I have enough gray hair that I'm not always right. And so we just check everything. You want to be careful. It's your health. In fact, in the case of melanoma, it may be a difference between extended life or shortened life. And in that case, I wouldn't take any kind of risk, not with my life. If this was my father, if this was my wife, I would tell them, go down and see the local dermatologist, which of course in their case would be me.
Now, we know that you've talked, skin cancer is the most common cancer, okay? You've talked about sun causing risk of cancer. Is there any other things that we do to our skin that increases the risk of developing these mutant cells?
Foods can actually increase or decrease your protection against mutations. So while you can't keep your skin from aging, you can decrease its speed of aging. I know what Paul said. He says, you know, this outside my body is perishing, but inside I'm being renewed day by day. We want that inward renewal, but we want to slow down the outward aging as much as possible. One of the things that can help slow down the process and protect you from certain ultraviolet rays has been found to be simple cooked tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
Because of lycopenes. And there's some really good literature on that. So it can decrease the mutation rate, actually, of the cells of the skin.
Yeah.
So there are simple things. It's not you know, it doesn't protect you from sunburn, but it protects you from some sun exposure injury.
You know, the reason I asked this is because I had someone that I take care of a lot of people that smoke cigarettes, and someone came in, their skin was all, you know, they looked a lot older. You know, this process called oxidation goes on in the body, and I was just wondering whether things like cigarettes and all the stuff we put on our skins, whether that's been proven to accelerate skin cancer.
It does, and it also accelerates aging, so that you lose your collagen more quickly. And so if you even some things in caffeine can increase the speed of aging, but cigarettes very much increase the aging, so that over the lifetime of a smoker, the skin of the smoker looks about 10 years older than the skin of the non-smoker.
Yeah. Now, melanoma, we all know, a lot of people know that can be a fatal cancer.
Yeah.
Are there any other types of cancer, you know, like the squamous cell and basal cells? Can they be dangerous, or they, you know, how's their prognosis if you have one of those?
Oh, of course, basal cell is the most common cancer.
Okay.
Maybe 75% or higher of the cancers of the skin are, you know, that I see are basal. Then you have maybe 15-20% squamous cell cancer. Of the kinds of cancer you can get, the very best kind you can get is basal cell.
Okay.
It's almost always curable. It almost never metastasizes,
Good.
jumps from one place to another. The nice thing about the skin is that you can see the cancer of your face or your nose or on your chest or on your arms or hands. You can see them. And so they don't have a chance to get really, really big. Now, we had a patient when I was in training that had been told, she was a little older, she was in her 70s, and she had been told by her doctor, oh, that's just a basal cell, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And when we saw her, it had covered her entire face, and it had a dreadful smell.
Oh,
this was 7 years later. Now she went to see her doctor over this problem that she had said was, that she had been told was not a big deal, and now she was told, "Ups, too big to remove." So, even though it is true that basal cell is a more indolent, more slow-growing, less of a problem, it's still a problem. It's locally invasive. I had just 2 weeks ago the biggest basal cell I have seen. And this was also in an older person that just didn't want to be bothered with it. And by the time I saw her, this is here in America, it was as big as a grapefruit. And now, of course, that becomes life-threatening because the basal cell will grow into the brain and invade. We did a CT scan, and it looks like it can be completely taken off. And we're hopeful that that is the case. But you just don't ignore even a basal cell. Now, squamous cell is in the middle, basal cell, then you have a squame, and then you have your melanomas. And then beyond melanomas, you have a few really, really, really bad actors like a Merkel cell. But your squame can be a more dangerous kind of skin cancer, even though it's common, because if you just ignore it, it can metastasize into the bones, the lungs, the liver, and so it kills people. In fact, More people die from squamous cell cancers than melanoma, and usually it's done because they just ignore them, they neglect them, and they just let it grow, and it grows, and they think it's going to go away, and it doesn't. And so by the time they come to us, it's already spread. So it's particularly dangerous around lips, nose, ears.
So early detection, greater than age 40, check your skin out once a year.
Yes. Now, we're finding that skin cancers occur even in young people. Occasionally you'll get a melanoma in young people.
Wow. Well, I'm learning a lot with Dr. Mills. And Lois, we're going to be on with you after this short break. Give us a call. Our phone number is 855-644-3278. And I guess what we're finding out, early detection is the key if you want to keep your skin looking well. We've got some more questions coming up on acne. We have some on how to keep yourself from aging. All these are coming up after the break. But Lois, we're going to talk to you. We're going to go to short break, a pause for the cause, and we're going to be right back. Thanks for joining us on Heart of Health Live.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
Could It Be This Simple changed my life. What an amazing and solid yet fulfilling and liberating message Dr. Jennings provides. I loved it.
It is liberating. It frees your mind from all your mental turmoil and teaches you what is really going on.
This book is amazing and makes so much sense. It shows God as a God of love rather than an arbitrary, exacting God.
I am so grateful that a friend suggested I read Could It Be This Simple? It has helped me fine-tune my thinking.
This book not only helps the mind to heal, but helps to liberate the emotions by bringing them into balance. You will be captivated with the case studies liberally sprinkled throughout this small, easy-to-read book. I dare you to read it.
Get your copy of Could It Be This Simple? A biblical model for healing the mind at Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
I'm Dr. James Marcum, and I talk to patients every day who want to know the truth in healthcare. On our website, heartwiseministries.org, you can have your questions answered. You can read my blog where I talk about interesting and controversial subjects in medicine. You might choose to go to the radio or television sections and learn more about all sorts of health topics. Take the time and go to heartwiseministries.org. Hi, I'm Dr. James Marcum, speaker, director of Heartwise Ministries. And at Heartwise, our goal is to bring people into a relationship with the Heavenly Father using modern medicine and the healing principles found in the Bible. We teach people that there is a place for modern medicine and a healthy lifestyle, but it is in a relationship with their Creator where ultimate healing can occur. Over the past years, our ability to share this message of truth, love, and healing around the world has increased exponentially. But to continue this steady growth, we need your help. We are looking and praying for 100 individuals willing to give $1,000 a year. If the Spirit is moving you to become one of the Heartwise 100, won't you consider donating online today at heartwiseministries.org.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
Welcome back to Heart of Health Live. We're talking about dermatology with Dr. Phill Mills, and I want to encourage those. A few years ago, I came up with this Weight Management by the Book program. We're giving one of those free this evening to one of our Facebook friends. Nick Evanson, who runs our Facebook, is going to be choosing that person. So go on Facebook, give us a call. Weight Management by the Book. It's not what you think. It's by the book, the Bible. It's how to lose weight with biblical principles. You might be interested on that. Lois, you're on with Dr. Mills. Lois, you're calling. Go ahead with your question, Lois.
Oh, I love your health programs. I watch them all the time. I'm asking about, since he's a dermatologist, I've gone to a dermatologist twice, And usually it's like so many people are going through, like they don't even have time to check you out. And I'd ordered to go in to get a full scan, and they're just saying, one lady just said, well, I guess she was just one of their with PAs or something, and she just said, well, that's all just something you can blame on your mother, you know, and I never really felt like I've got some raised heart things, and she didn't do the scan, and she said, well, where is your problem? And I just, you know, is there another better place I could go, or...
I guess what's a usual routine?
Well, typically for me, I like to see if on the first visit, if the patient will let me, I like to look at the skin from the top of their scalp down to their toenails. 2.5% of melanomas are in the foot, and so I like to look at the mouth and I want to see those things. Now, if your doctor looked at some spots that you were concerned about, and if you have several of them, usually when a patient calls in and they're concerned about several dark spots, we know that we don't have to worry about it because, I mean, we'll bring them in and we'll look at it, but typically a melanoma will be one spot. Typically, if a person is concerned about several spots, they're what we call seborrheic keratosis, or barnacles of life. And so those can concern a person, and they look like they may be melanomas, but to an experienced eye, you know the difference, usually, although we can be fooled. One of the problems, however, with the seborrheic keratosis is, although the seborrheic keratosis is not so much of a problem, you can develop skin cancers underneath them, just like any other part of your skin. And so the seborrheic keratosis can actually hide the skin underneath. So that can fool you. So if it's inflamed, if it's red, if it's itchy, if the person is noting any of those, I may simply biopsy them and make sure that I'm not missing something. But your dermatologist will have a good feel for whether it should be done or shouldn't be done. None of us are 100%, and so instead of my guessing, I'll do a biopsy just to make certain if there's any question in my mind.
And where are you located?
I'm in Blue Ridge, Georgia.
That's a long drive from Illinois.
There are plenty of great dermatologists in Illinois, I guarantee you.
Okay.
Oh, I'd love to find one.
Well, keep looking, Lois, okay?
Much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your call.
I appreciate that.
Dr. Mills, we have a client or a patient or a friend, however you want to call it. This is a person with very dry hair and scalp, dry hair and scalp. Recently they had a perm, and they've been using a lot of hair moisturizers daily, but their hair continues to feel like straw. Any suggestions to moisturize the scalp?
The most common problem that I see in the scalp is called seborrheic dermatitis. And in that, it may be presenting with the itchy. They just have itchy scalp. Or they may notice their dry flakes. In some cases, it can be quite severe dandruffy kind of flakes. It can be on the scalp, it can be behind the ears, it can be in the ears, itching in the ears. Yeah. Redness over the eyebrows in this area, redness right in the nose, around these areas. And then you can have it here in the chest. Where you have hair is where you have seborrheic dermatitis. Very, very common. In my practice, it's the third most common problem that I see, seborrheic dermatitis. And so what I would do, I would recommend, is if this is the problem here, a shampoo called Nizoral shampoo, and there is a steroid solution and a mineral oil at night with a shampoo in the morning where you wash it all out, and then you have a steroid twice a day. You do that for 1 week, and then you cut it back to 3 times a week for about a month, and then hopefully you can just keep it under control for indefinitely, just once a week, with twice a week maybe, with the shampoo. So that's the usual routine. It works well. Sometimes a person has what's called sebopsoriasis. There's a psoriatic component to it. In that case, the shampoo needs to be different from what I told you here. So there are different kinds of problems. I just told you what is the most common problem. I don't know if that's your problem, but that would be off the top, usually the place I would start without better visualization of the problem that you're having. Typically, that would be the problem, and the treatment, the control. We can't cure it, but we can usually keep it under good control.
Well, that was great. You know, everyone wants to have skin, and you know, you talked about the barnacles of life. Are they more common the older you get? Because I've noticed I've got a few more barnacles than I used to have.
Yes, just about everyone has one, maybe 40 or 50 years of age. But as we become increasingly less immature,
there you go. That's a good way to put it.
We get more, and it has to do with two facts: our age and our genetics. And we really don't know what causes these, shall we say, barnacles to grow. If that's what it is, those are truly harmless, but they're unsightly. People don't like them. Now, if you have an explosion of these, all of a sudden, you just didn't have these little growths, and now you're explosively having them, you need to have a workup with an internal medicine doctor because there may be other internal diseases going on.
Now, do dermatologists typically work with rashes, or is that more of an internal medicine problem, or sort of a sharing them?
We do rashes. Dermatology is rash.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys look at rashes and know what's causing
all day long.
So I guess you have to ask a lot of questions to learn where these rashes come from, right?
Well, primarily you look at them.
Okay. So
and dermatology is a visual specialty. So, for example, the approach that you would make as an internist, you'd talk to the person first, and then you would, after you've crafted your questions, then you look to see what they may have. You listen to their heart. You do various things. For me, as a dermatologist, I don't know as I remember which end of the stethoscope I'm supposed to put in my mouth.
Okay.
But the first thing I do is I want to look at it.
Okay.
And then, depending on what it looks like, then I frame my questions.
Okay.
So it's sort of backward to the way we think in internal medicine.
So pattern recognition, experience, very, very important.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, our lines are wide open, 855-644-3278. We're talking this evening with dermatologist Dr. Phill Mills. He's given us great information. We have a question about acne coming up after the break, so stay with us.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
I'd like to think that one day, when we get to heaven, we're going to see a list of people like Jared and Susan, who were introduced to Jesus because of something we said. Or maybe it was as simple as a passing smile. But these people will look into their past and be able to say, I'm here because of you. Recently, you may have heard that Heartwise Ministries has begun spreading the gospel to the young, the old, the sick, and the healthy using this very television program. But we need your help. We want to take this type of medical programming to the non-believer and the person who has closed themselves off to traditional forms of outreach. If you believe as we do and want to support Heartwise so that together we can count more names on the tree of life, please consider donating today at heartwiseministries.org. That's heartwiseministries.org.
Have you ever heard things about God that didn't make sense? Have you ever thought that science and Scripture cannot be reconciled? Have you heard ideas about God that scare you? Or are you just tired and confused? If you want answers to complex problems, if you want a testable, evidence-based understanding of God and the world around you, an understanding in which the Bible and science harmonize to reveal the reality that God is love all the time, then Come and Reason Ministries is for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Tim Jennings, board-certified psychiatrist, and Come and Reason Ministries is dedicated to helping you learn to discern, to stimulate you to think, to help hone and refine your ability to know the right from the wrong, the healthy from the unhealthy, and teach you how to experience healing of your mind, body, and relationships here and now. If you would like an evidence-based approach to knowing God, then visit us online at comeandreason.com.
The Ultimate Prescription by cardiologist Dr. James Marcum is taking the nation by storm. People everywhere are learning what living a healthy life is all about. If you're happy living a drug-filled, pain-filled, mundane existence, this book is definitely not for you. In this book, Dr. Marcum dives into modern medicine's strengths and weaknesses and explains how lifestyle choices can significantly impact your health. To get your copy, visit Barnes & Noble or shop online at Amazon.com.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
Talking to Dr. Mills. He's a dermatologist. He has a practice in northern Georgia. He sees patients every day. He's actually volunteered his time to come and serve us this evening. And the only thing we can really give him is say, by service, he's improving his own chemistry. So I don't know if that's enough to get him to come back. But this question, Dr. Mills, is from Massachusetts. And this is Massachusetts. It's a college student that has acne. Took medication as prescribed, still continues to have acne. So let's talk a little bit about acne, what it is, and how you treat it.
Well, first of all, acne is not unusual to have. 95% of adolescents today have acne. Now, if you go to a third world remote area, unexposed to Western civilization, they basically don't have acne.
Wow.
So this is very interesting.
Living lifestyle?
It probably is environmental.
Okay.
Because you can even have a good lifestyle. If my children growing up in our home, we had a good lifestyle, very good diet, very careful, exercise, and yet there was a little bit of acne, right. So which needed treatment. So part of it is something that we're doing. Now, we have found, and this is quite recent, up until the last couple years, dermatologists said, it doesn't really matter what you eat, it doesn't have any impact on your skin. Well, that was based on flawed studies, and careful repeat studies now show that, yes, what should have been common sense is actually true. What you eat can impact whether or not you have acne and other skin disorders. But so the first question that should be addressed on this with this college student is, are they eating fast foods, soda, drinking sodas, and foods with high glycemic indexes increase acne. There's been an association with certain types of candy bars. Often chocolate will have an association, whether it's the high fat content, high fat sugar content, whether it's the chocolate. That's being debated right now. But regardless of whether it's the chocolate or not, the candy bars do seem to have this impact. Other things that can have a high impact are the amount of milk a person drinks. We think that may be associated with the hormones that are being given to the cows, but we find that severe acnes are associated on a direct correlation, very good studies, with high milk consumption. So if your diet, however, is correct, then the next thing, if you require treatment, the standard of care today is you should have 3 medications, 1 by mouth and 2 topicals. The 1 by mouth would be an antibiotic that also has an anti-inflammatory component. One of the medications that would go on would be a benzoyl peroxide, which keeps the antibiotic from having a resistance. If you don't have the benzoyl peroxide, the antibiotic will develop a resistance. But with that benzoyl peroxide, no resistance develops. So it continues working in both the antibiotic, killing the acne bacteria, as well as the anti-inflammatory properties that it has. Then the third is a vitamin A type of medication. And this is put on the skin, very, very thin film. You don't want it to clump up around your nose. And these, both of these topical medications are somewhat drying. So if a person has real dry skin, they have more problems tolerating these topical medicines than if they don't. And so the way it's delivered is more important. So those three medications, and that's the basic approach. What is your diet? And have you had these three medications simultaneously? Otherwise, if you're just getting the medicine by mouth, the antibiotic, or one of these other two, you're not getting the comprehensive approach, and it's not going to be as effective. Now, if you can't tolerate these, there are some other medications, such as dapsone topically, that can also be used. If the topicals and the antibiotic medicine isn't working, then a person needs to consider a high-dose vitamin A type of medication, which would be isotretinoin. Used to be called Accutane, but Accutane is now completely generic, so it's just isotretinoin, and Accutane is not, you can't even purchase it. And there's various companies that make what used to be called Accutane. And that is a very, very good medication. It's a vitamin A. It does have some, when you take high doses of vitamin A, it has to be monitored. So you would only be able to get that from somebody who knows how to get it safely.
Now, is acne untreated dangerous? Or is it any long-acting dangerous if you do not treat it?
Psychologically, it has impact, particularly if it's leaving scars. That's very important for the way a person looks. And even though in an ideal society nobody would care, people become very self-conscious and they become depressed sometimes. So yes, there are side effects. And if it's severe, they can be lifelong effects, although there are some ways that can be treated with fractionated CO2 laser and other kinds of approaches to minimize the scarring. But the best way is, if possible, try to treat it before it reaches that condition.
Okay. Anna, you're on with Dr. Mills. Anna, go ahead with your question. Anna, you hear me?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Mills and Dr. Marcum. I have these little red bumps that are filled with blood, and I understand they're probably benign, but I don't know what they're called. My father had them. I started getting them a little here, a little there about 10 or 15 years ago, and then when probably around menopause, I'm now 60, so about 10 years ago, they just sort of started erupting all over the place.
Yes, everybody has at least one of those. That's called a cherry angioma or hemangioma. Everyone gets at least one by the time they're 40. And just like the seborrheic keratosis, depending on your genetics and your age will determine how many more you get after that. And if your father had them and had a lot of them, you are apt to have a lot. Now they can be taken off, but they're harmless. I wouldn't bother. I mean, if a person just had one and wanted to do it, insurance doesn't pay for it. It'd be cosmetic. I certainly wouldn't recommend treating. But they are harmless. What is happening is the body, again, is not making the skin area perfectly as it once did. And so that's what's happening. And there's just some genetic issues there. And we live in an imperfect world, but But my understanding is that those will all go away someday.
That's great.
I understand.
Anna, we have to go to break, but thank you for your call, and we're going to go to Maria after this break. So Maria, stay with us. We're going to be right back with your question for Dr. Mills, so stay with us.
The Heart of Health Live will return in just a moment.
I'm Dr. James Marcum, and I talk to patients every day who want to know the truth in healthcare. On our website, heartwiseministries.org, you can have your questions answered. You can read my blog where I talk about interesting and controversial subjects in medicine. You might choose to go to the radio or television sections and learn more about all sorts of health topics. Take the time and go to heartwiseministries.org.
Medicines That Kill from cardiologist Dr. James Marcum is now available. In his newest book, Dr. Marcum explains why he believes that medications may very well be the #1 cause of death in America. Medicines That Kill uncovers the hidden risks associated with modern pharmaceuticals and outlines the biblical plan for physical and spiritual health. To find out how to get your copy, visit our website at heartwiseministries.org or call us toll-free at 855-644-3278.
Hi, I'm Dr. James Marcum, speaker, director of Heartwise Ministries. And at Heartwise, our goal is to bring people into a relationship with the Heavenly Father using modern medicine and the healing principles found in the Bible. We teach people that there is a place for modern medicine and a healthy lifestyle, but it is in a relationship with their Creator where ultimate healing can occur. Over the past years, our ability to share this message of truth, love, and healing around the world has increased exponentially. But to continue this steady growth, we need your help. We are looking and praying for 100 individuals willing to give $1,000 a year. If the Spirit is moving you to become one of the Heartwise 100, won't you consider donating online today at heartwiseministries.org.
You've got questions, we've got answers on the Heart of Health Live. Welcome back.
Before we go to Maria's question, we have a question that's come in that we have to get at here. This person works outside all the time, Dr. Mills, and he has a dry spot on his forehead that doesn't go away. Could it be something to be concerned about?
Yes, as a matter of fact, the #1 disorder of the skin that I see is precancerous, and they often present like a dry spot that doesn't go away. That should be seen if it is a actinic keratosis or one of these that are precancerous lesions. 6% of those will go on to become squamous cell cancer, and that should be treated with liquid nitrogen. There are some other treatments that could be used as well, but if it's just single, probably liquid nitrogen, if that's what it is.
Okay, well that's good information. Maria, it's now your turn. You're on with Dr. Mills. Go ahead, Maria.
Hi, my name's Maria.
Go ahead.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. We're listening, Maria. Go ahead with your question.
I'm listening.
I have a grandson who is 5 years old.
How old? I missed that.
He had.
I missed the age. How old is he?
5.
5.
5 years old. Okay.
Yes. He has beautiful hair, big black, beautiful eyebrows. Like, what, 9 months ago? And now he is bald. You hear me? He's bald.
Yes. Yes.
No
He is
eyebrows,
completely
no.
bald? Does it include his eyebrows and his eyelashes?
Not his eyelashes, but his eyebrows, yes.
Eyebrows are gone, and there is no hair anywhere on his scalp?
No. His
Okay.
head is smooth.
All right. Any
He used to
scarring?
have
Is there any scarring on his scalp at all? Any scars? Is there any type of scale, or as you describe me, is it smooth like a billiard ball? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Yes. Most likely, that's a type of alopecia areata, but that needs to be evaluated. I'm sure it has been. If it is alopecia areata and it doesn't come back, many times it can come back, but the more extensive it is and the longer it goes on, the less likely it is to come back. And so it is possible that he has alopecia areata, and that's what it sounds like. Are his nails involved at all?
No, his nails, he's got them.
All right. He should have a workup to make sure that there is nothing else going on. I would have him seen at by a dermatologist who understands the alopecias, or maybe even go to a clinic where a dermatologist specializes only in hair and hair loss and has an appropriate workup to make sure that there isn't something treatable.
Okay. Maria, thank you for your call. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. Okay, but thank you for calling. Dr. Mills, we're all out of time. I just want to thank you for answering all these questions. And for those viewers that didn't get their question answered this time, we're going to have Dr. Mills on again, so you can send your questions to our website. That's heartwiseministries.org. And if you want to go to our Facebook page, you can keep track of our ministry. That's Heartwise Ministries. And you can register to win this Weight Management by the Book for someone on our Facebook tonight. And we want to thank everyone for joining us, and thank you for your questions. And stay with us each and every week where we bring someone here that can answer your questions and help serve you, so you might go out and educate yourselves and educate the world about how to have better health. And we want that all to start with a relationship with your God. Thanks for joining us.